Right now, celebrations in downtown West Palm Beach, the rally commending the Supreme Court for striking down the federal law defining marriage as a union between a man and a woman. A few dozen people have been gathering since about an hour or so ago. The justices today also made a separate ruling clearing the way for same-sex marriage in California. Here to talk about today's landmark rulings are Pastor Mark Boykin, the senior pastor of the Church of All Nations in Boca Raton, and also Tony Placas, the executive director and CEO of Compass Gay and Lesbian Community Center, and we thank you both for your time. Pastor Boykin, I'll begin with you. Just a moment ago, you told me you were bracing for today's decision. Talk about your reaction.
Well, we certainly thought that that it would be a little more favorable. We thought that this decision would usurp states' rights, which that indeed we feel has taken place. I think Ralph Reed put it best. He said it was an Orwellian act of judicial fiat, and I think that pretty much encompasses the way we look at it, because they usurped states' rights, and it's a judicial grab, and another act of legislation are being done from the bench, which we take great umbrage at.
And Tony Placas, your reaction, and you can respond to the way that the pastor is describing it.
I think states' rights, it's a good issue to think about, because the voters of Maryland and some other states in this country voted for marriage equality. And by not allowing those full benefits to be bestowed upon the people that are married, interferes with that state's rights and the will of the people. So I think that there's two ways of looking at that.
The Supreme Court did not say that all states have to recognize same-sex marriage. And
I think that's the bright hope, particularly here in Florida. And I believe Florida will become the bellwether for the South, or the Southern coalition of red states. I think that you're going to see a real push for Florida, to come along, so to speak. And those of us who are outspoken and who are of the conservative bent will make a stand and make Florida that line in the sand. We want to keep Florida under the umbrella of DOMA, although I know what has happened today is a celebration of sorts, but at the same time, Florida does embrace traditional marriage.
But I know, Tony, that you believe, and so many others believe, that this might be the beginning of many other states. There are 38 states that currently ban gay marriage, but you think it's actually going to change in favor of more states allowing it.
I absolutely do. In my experience over the past 15 years, this was a political issue that really benefited social conservatives and Republicans in general. I think now there are going to be fewer people that want to pick up that mantle, and that you're going to see a lot more people that are emboldened to get in line. Remember, we're looking at this a little more closely than most people do. We're dissecting a Supreme Court decision. Most people are going to hear that the Supreme Court favored same-sex marriage.
When will couples start receiving these federal benefits that they will now be entitled to?
Right.
Those who are legally married in a state that allows gay marriage?
I think we still have some questions that have to be answered, a little bit more analysis. I know that, because I do have a legal marriage. I have a legal marriage in Cambridge, Massachusetts. So we're going to have to, I think that there's going to be a little bit more coming down the pike. Things haven't been settled. I can tell you from my end and from listening, our activists, the people that want to get out there, that want to make sure that marriage equality is nationwide, they're piped up, and they have every reason to be.
And Pastor Boykin, the latest poll I read said 53% of Americans do favor allowing same-sex couples to wed, 42% oppose. I think some people may be thinking, well, the Supreme Court is just siding with the majority of Americans and with what many in America want. What do you say to that?
Well, first, let me say that those polls could be citing an area where there's an aggregation of people who believe that way, and Florida may not be on that spectrum. So you may be taking a part of the nation that strongly favors it at the expense of us, for instance, in Florida. You wouldn't have that same result in Florida. And let me speak to one other point, and that is the confusion, because Florida does not recognize same-sex, and what my friend Tony has just touched on brings confusion. Now, how are they going to balance that in Florida? They were married in Massachusetts. Now, how's Florida going to look at that? And it's opening Pandora's box, to be quite honest.
And yet, gay couples around the country will say it's worth the fight. they're fighting for what they feel are their rights. And now the Supreme Court has said at least these federal benefits they are certainly entitled to. What's the next step? Is there recourse for conservatives and evangelicals?
It's going to galvanize our base like never before, and you're going to see us, and we're not the ones who've used the bellicose language of fighting and all. We're going to stand for what is right. We're going to stand for our traditional values, and I believe Florida is going to be that bellwether state. So keep your eye on Florida.
And you'll be keeping your eye on Florida, Tony, for the opposite reason, I know, for what may to come. And how many years do you suppose?
I think this is going to happen so fast it's going to give us whiplash. I can tell you more and more people recognize that marriage is not just the union of one man and one woman. It's a union of families. And if you've ever been to a wedding, you can see that. And so, yes, there are a number of people throughout our state who may not have felt that this fight was necessary before. And for political reasons, we've had a lot of social conservatives that have been able to use that. We're not going to be seeing that much more.
I have to end it there. Tony Plakas and Pastor Boynton, thank you very much for being with us today. We appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you so much. So much discussion on this. We do have some results from our text to vote. Earlier, we asked you in our broadcast if you agreed with the Supreme Court's decision. 40% of those who responded to this text to vote said they did agree. 60% said they did not. You can still weigh in on the debate at WPTV's Facebook page or by texting yes or no to 29,000. We'll have updated results at 6.
Now, Storm Team.